Yes. Here we go. Hello, you lot. How's it going? I hope you're all brilliantly fine and dandy. This is somewhat delayed because a while ago, right, I put a little post. I said, let's have a bit of fun, ask questions, just do a bit of a Q&A. So I thought, great. I was reading a few of the questions, and then I forgot all about it. Got caught up in other stuff, general things in life. And then I thought, right, let's do it. I think it was meant to be the weekend. It was meant to be happening at the weekend. Now it's bloody Monday. And I said to myself, right, okay, let's do this. I was messing around with a printer. I was going to print them out on a bit of paper so I could read them. But then I realised the printers ran out of ink. So I thought, right, I'm going to have them on the telephone, and a pocket computer. When I went and found it, flat. No battery. So I've been charging that up while I've been having dinner. So now, what we've got is the pocket computer here. And I'll read out the questions so we can finally do the Q&A. Thank the Lord. Away we go. Away we go. Right. Now, I didn't really get many questions. In fact, more than probably 90% of them are from the tea and biscuits, I would imagine. But we shall see. So, 5 days ago, I'm going first on the list of questions here. Tea and biscuits. Actually, I'll go from the bottom because I think the bottom are the first ones. Yeah, we'll go from the bottom. I think the top ones are the last questions asked. The bottom is the first questions. So, do you plan on doing any collaborations from the tea and biscuits? Do I plan on doing any collaborations? There's been some collaborations in the pipeline for probably about 5 years. They just never happen, mainly because I just don't like people. No, when it comes to doing things like that, you've got to plan stuff, and to be honest, I've got loads of other stuff just for other people. I don't want to be going and doing things like that, going off, spending a whole day, doing something that I want to do when I could be doing loads of things for everybody else, the children and other people. I feel a bit selfish if I go and spend a whole day, go somewhere, and play around with a toy car. So there may be collaborations, they might happen, but at the moment there isn't any plans. In fact, there's probably that one. I think there's 4 YouTubers that keep, well, 2 of them are quite persistent in contacting me, and you know who you are, and you're more than welcome to, about meeting up and doing collaborations. And the other 2 have probably asked me a few times, and I've just said, yeah, we'll have to work it out, but it's never worked. We've never worked it out. What does it mean to you that your talent/shenanigans is being appreciated by strangers around the world? That's from Jeffrey. I can't pronounce that second name. It's from Jeffrey. What does it mean to you that your talent/shenanigans is being appreciated by strangers around the world? Well, I think it's bloody amazing. I can use a glorified camera, taking, what are we on? 50 frames per second, taking 50 photos of me every second, yeah. Put it on the internet, and people around can just watch those millions of pictures of me, and they like it and appreciate it. I think it's great, And the fact that some of you lot actually find enjoyment in the things that I do with these RC cars is brilliant as well, I'm not a born entertainer at all. apart from, I seem to be in constant silly mode for children. You know, when it comes to children, you have to be stupid, you have to be silly, don't you? That's why clowns make them laugh. I am a clown. And I'm like that constantly. I can't be serious. I can't wear a suit. And I let you in on a little secret here. A family secret. In the family, my nickname is Mr. Bean. Apparently I'm like Mr. Bean. I don't know. I mean, you can make your own judgment, but they think I am. So I take it as a compliment because he's very successful, Mr. Rowan Atkinson. Anyway, I think we've got a ghost here watching us. Happy days. So yeah, it means quite a lot that you lot enjoy what I do, because I film what I do for fun. Making these videos, the cameras are more of a hobby to me than the RC cars, I reckon, because photography's been a hobby of mine ever since I was a little thing. And yeah, I decided to film stuff once back in 2007, 2 years after YouTube was invented. I decided to film stuff to put onto it, and I'm here still doing it now, so it means quite a lot. From Mitchell P. Food. Where did you get all your knowledge of RC cars from? Was it just over time, always working on them, or was it just watching videos? Also, my other question is, how's the Badger Q coming along? Well, two questions there in one. The first one, how did you get all of your knowledge of RC cars? Well, when I first went into RC cars, as in Nitro cars, 2003, there was no YouTube, there was no videos. The way I was brought up is, because I was brought up around a farm, kind of going to work with my dad. You know, home life was, the garden was full of old lawnmowers and engines and things, and I had a quad bike and that. So if something breaks, you take it apart. You don't go, oh, it's broken, find someone to mend it. Something breaks in front of you, you're using it, it breaks, you take it apart. You try to mend it. You do whatever you have to do to mend it. Usually by bodging it, I will say, but you do whatever you have to do. So when I got me Nitro car, the first one, 2003, the Savage 21, if it ever broke or didn't start or something happened to it, I'd just take it apart. And I'll be like, that's what's wrong with it. And I'll mend it, forget how it goes together, bodge it together, have a load of bits left over and go, wonder where they go. Put them in the corner. The next time it breaks, I'll have to take it apart again, and I'll be like, that's what that goes to, that I took off last time, I forgot where it went. Put it on, you know? And it's just like that. My knowledge of engines come from all the other stuff, but because a Nitro engine is simply just an engine. They're all the same, work slightly different ways, but they're all the same. So you can, if you know how an engine works, you know how to mend a Nitro car, Nitro engine. Simple as that. Simple as that. So my knowledge just come from self-taught. There was no videos. There was none of this. You know, my dad taught me everything I knew back then, and nowadays I'm teaching him things. Unfortunately, well, fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, you tell me. But yeah, you just got to take things apart. I don't think I've ever looked up on, I don't use YouTube. I know I put content on it, but I don't watch it. I don't use it. I don't do anything. Now and again, if we're looking to buy something, I might have a look to see if there's a review or two on it, just to get a gauge of what it's like in person, because manufacturers' adverts can sometimes be a little bit wonky, if you know what I mean. But I don't go on it to look stuff up. I just simply, it's not my first instinct. My first instinct is to work it out. So yeah, self-taught, my friends, self-taught. You thinking what I'm thinking? The RC Wall of Death from Tea and Biscuits. The RC Wall of Death. What's that all about? I'll question back to you. What is that all about? The RC Wall of Death. Are you saying you want me to make one of them circles what the motorbikes go around, like a big ball, and you go around on the inside of it? That would be pretty cool. That would be cool. I'd be like Colin Furs out there, wouldn't I? Be crazy neighbour next door. He'd be going mad. What are you doing now? Making a big metal ball. What's all this noise? What's all this dust? What's all this? I'd be going, I'm making a wall of death for the RC cars. You want to join in? Anyway, Tea and Biscuits again. Find the cheapest new RC car that find the cheapest new RC car that you can find online, and give your review on price and expectations, and if it's worth paying more for a better brand. Talk about the spares, pricing and availability. Well, that's not really a question, is it, Mr. Tea and Biscuits? That's more of an instruction. You're telling me to do that. Find the cheapest new RC car that you can find online. Alright, challenge accepted. I shall do so. I will tell the children that we will not be eating for 3 weeks so that I can buy a cheap RC car. Right, Tea and Biscuits. Can you do a buy, fix and flip episode? The challenge is to see how much money you can make, talking all costs apart from time into account. Right. Okay then, Mr. Tea and Biscuits. I will do that. So I've got to buy a car, fix it, flip it in one episode. Alright. That sounds like a plan. Excuse me a second, I've got to blow my nose. Blimey. Daddy says my laugh is the best. Ah, dear. Anyway. Right, so that's gonna. I'll be doing that then. Oh, my ears popped. Right, so I'll do that. Can you do a buy, flip and fix episode? What can I buy? What can I fix? And what can I flip? I don't really.
A protractor I can borrow.
A protractor.
I need it for my homework. For drawing angles.
A protractor.
Protractor.
Right. Hold on. Let me look through the stationery cupboard.
I'm on the phone with Nana.
There's people in there. Can you see them? Blimey.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody blimey. Right. Where was we? Oh, I can't remember what question we were on now. The minion wanted a protractor to do her maths homework. Oh, maths, right? You lot in America call it math, don't you? No S on the end. Whereas here in England, it's maths with an S on the end, right? And I know a lot of people go, so we'll say it wrong. It doesn't got an S on there. We'll say it wrong. But if you look at, I should have brought it in to show you, exercise books, yeah, in the school, proper mathematics exercise books say maths book, yeah. So there's obviously a difference between British and American, yeah, because if it's on the proper school curriculum books, it's got to be right, yeah? Maths and math. It's math, not maths. I think you're wrong. Anyway, where was we? I've forgotten now. What was that? Bloody hell. One of you had a go at me the other day for taking the Lord's name in vain. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I don't even know how I'd done it. I don't know what I did. I'm not religious in the slightest, so I ain't got a clue how any of that works. My apologies if there was any Christian offence in any way. I went to a Christian school. We used to have to sing hymns every day. Tea and Biscuits. Do you think you could drive a RC car around a course with both the throttle and steering controls reverse direction? Mr. T and Biscuits, I reckon I could. And I know that because when we were kids, that's what we used to do. We used to play around, having the steering and the throttle and brakes. The thing is, if you've got the throttle and brake round the other way, you don't get full throttle. You get full brakes, but you don't get full throttle because now the brake doesn't go all the way, so you don't get full throttle. So you get about half throttle in most cases. But yeah, that's what we used to do. We used to drive around with everything reversed, and we used to play tricks on each other as well. The couple of friends who were very, very, very serious. They had no sense of humour. So we used to flick the little switches, because on them ones it weren't a menu or nothing, literally just a switch. I mean, the bloody transmitters are up there now, but just flick a switch on it and everything's reversed. Yeah, that was good fun. But yeah, I can do that, and maybe one day I'll do a video on it and prove it to you. But yep, I can do that. A whole track may be difficult, but I reckon I could do a whole track. Definitely could do a whole track. Right, Tea and Biscuits again. Ideas on methods to stop tyres ballooning at high speed. I haven't got a blooming clue. Jubilee clips. There we go. Put Jubilee clips on it. Be a bit bumpy. Be a bit bumpy, but they'll stop them ballooning. I don't really do high speed stuff. I'm not interested in high speed. But I reckon any idea I've got, someone's already probably done, because I know a lot of you lot like high speed stuff. And yeah, not me though. Can you do blindfolded fix challenge? See if you can do a simple repair without looking. Alright. Sounds interesting. Don't think I could do it though. I suppose I'd have to lay all the tools out in an order so I know what order they're in. So if I feel I'm at the end of the screwdrivers, 1, 2, 3 screwdriver in would be flathead, for example. Same for Allen's and all that. I reckon I could take wheels on and off. Change wheels I could do blindfolded. I don't reckon I'd better do anything else. I really don't. Because how would I know where things are? It would take a long time. Might be interesting. Might be boring for a video though, because you'll just be watching me feel around on a bench to try and find something. But that's an interesting idea, Mr. Tea and Biscuits. Tea and Biscuits again. I find that small cars with small engines are faster and more fun than larger cars with larger engines. The weight difference seems to make the small one faster and more agile. Thoughts on that? Well, it's a common known fact, you know. Back in the day when I was younger, back in the racing days, not RC racing, but actual motorbike and car racing days, we had a saying, and we didn't make the saying up. I mean, it was already a saying from donkey's years ago, but it was a saying that everyone said in the pits, and it's just a saying. It's more fun to drive a slow car fast than it is to drive a fast car slow. So, with regards to a small car with a small engine is more fun than a big car with a big engine. Yeah, 100%, because you've got a small car that you're driving flat out. You know, you're flat out, it's screaming, you're enjoying that because of the sound. It's flat out, you know, you're having to work hard, having fun to get it to go around that track as fast as possible. If you've got a fast car, which is too fast for that track, you can't go flat out. You're always having to hold back. I've got something in my eye. Might be that gnat that kept buzzing around my head earlier. It's not as much fun. And when I used to do motocross with my friends, see, I had a 450. I had a CRF 450, 2005, because this was back in 2006. It was a year old when I bought it. CRF 450. Around, I don't know what that was, I think they're about 45, 50 horsepower standard. Mine was a bit more than that. It had cams and stuff in it because of 4-stroke. Now, before then, I had 125s and I had a 250 as well. They were good fun. You could blast them flat out, fifth gear over the jumps, just about clear them. But with the 450, first gear for the track that I used to go to, first gear flat out was about as far up the gears as I could go. First gear, I could get into second, but if I went into second, I'd overshoot all the tabletops and all the jumps, and that's buzzing around in my eye like mad. I might have to soak it in coffee. I'd go over all the tabletops, go over all the jumps. In fact, once my mate was on his 125. He had an RM 125, 2-stroke obviously. He was like that. He'd gone over the jump, it weren't a tabletop, I think it was a triple. He was in midair, and I was behind him, and I didn't realise it, but I was actually in third, right? So I've pinned it, and I'm thinking, I think I'm in third, and I can remember it. I think I'm in third, and I was going, and I shot over him, and I actually jumped over him in midair. And I know you're thinking, no, you didn't, but I did. And back then we didn't have cameras. We didn't have head cameras. There wasn't anything. Now and again a photographer would come along with these big DSLR thing, and he'd take pictures of you and you can go buy them. But we didn't have no cameras. There's no proof of it. My mate had a Nokia one. It was like it was a phone, but it was like a diamond shape. Nokia phone it was. That had a camera on it, but it looked like it was literally a potato, like 2 pixels. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't filming with it, but yeah, I flew over him. But I enjoyed it more when we swapped bikes. I went on his 125. In fact, he didn't like riding the 450. He flipped it 3 times after they wouldn't ride it. Because you accelerate, you kept flipping off. But I like swapping bikes because I could pin that. You just go flat out over the jumps, jump again, flat out on the throttle. You don't let off for the corners, you don't let off for nothing. That's more fun than being on a more powerful bike and not being able to pin it, you know. And it's the same for RC cars. If you're going around the track, you got the throttle pinned. I ain't got no transmitter here. You got the throttle pinned all the time. Here's one. You're going around the track, you got that throttle pinned the whole time. Yeah, you're not letting off for corners, maybe a little bit, and a little blip now and again for corners, but you got it pinned and it's screaming. That's a whole lot more fun than having an engine which is just far too powerful for that track, you know, because you're never on full throttle, and that's the whole name of the game. Pin it to win it, my friends. Pin it to win it was something else we used to say. Pin it to win it. Right. Where was I? Tea and biscuits again. Have you built a Tamiya kit? Would you do one on the channel? I know they're electric, but the classics, like the lunchbox, are a lot of fun, and there are plenty of modifications and tinkering to do. I don't like tinkering. I don't want to do any of that. No, I've never built a Tamiya kit, and to be perfectly honest, Mr. Tea and Biscuits, I don't want to build a Tamiya kit. In fact, I don't want to build any kit. Yeah, that doesn't tickle me in the slightest, you know. Building kits and that doesn't. I mean, I'd have to be. I'll be truthful now, right? If I had a house that was big enough, right, and I didn't have to be out in a garage, I could be in my home, in my house. I had like a dining table, because this is memories now. Yeah, a dining table. I'd probably build a kit. Yeah, if I had like a kitchen table or something that was nice and big, I could space it out. And I'm in my home. I'm in the kitchen. You know, kids and family and that are going past doing their things indoors, and I can chat to them and that, and hello kids and that kind of stuff. On the dining table, I'd probably build a kit. But building a kit out here, for example, or anywhere, you know, it doesn't interest me at all. Not in the slightest, I'm afraid. Yeah, if I ever get a house which is big enough and I can do it indoors, probably would build a kit. But yeah, that's that really. Other than that, it don't interest me at all. Have you ever considered trying personal speed records? Would be fun to have an RC car that is a member of the 100 mile an hour club. Again, that interests me, not in the slightest. I don't care. I just haven't got an interest in speed. I just haven't. I don't know why. I just haven't. Everybody else seems to. I've got no interest in speed whatsoever. The 100 mile an hour club can keep itself to itself. I'm not interested in that. And no, personal speed records, no, not in the slightest. That doesn't interest me at all. Tea and biscuits again. Any advantage to having the front wheels pointing slightly out or slightly in from each other? Opinions for front, rear and four-wheel drive. Well, I don't know. Really, you don't want either. For some reason, when you buy a ready-to-run car, the camber is always a bit dicky, and the toe is like, the toe is the wheels, isn't it? They're like, you got your wheels pointing straight is what you want for best, but sometimes they're facing out like that when you get a ready-to-run car. I don't know why, they just don't set them up properly, do they? Bring them back in again. Advantages, I ain't got a clue. I've never cared about that kind of stuff, to be fair. I normally just set my car up so that it looks straight. If it drives straight, that's all I care about. So no, I honestly, I couldn't answer that, Mr. Tea and Biscuits. That's not something I've really taken much of an interest in. If you could alter an RC car, this is from Tea and Biscuits again. I think he likes asking questions. If you could alter an RC car, such as add another engine or make it longer, or a bunch of other modifications, what would you use as the base car and what changes would you make? I like the idea of manually changing gears via a toggle switch. You know what? That idea of changing gears, I've had that idea for donkey's years. Like, I've always thought that when I was a kid with my Savage, my 21, that had 2-speed gearbox in it. And I always wanted to be able to change it. There's someone out there that's done it. There's a YouTube channel I watch now and again. I like watching Colin Fursner, but he didn't do it. I think it's Johnny something. He does RC stuff. He put one of those big V8 4-stroke model engines in a car and that. I think it was Johnny, but he had a clutch. Johnny's C90 or something, I think his channel is. You'll all know all about it because you lot are all YouTube geeks. I'm pretty sure he had a clutch on his transmitter. Don't know if it changed gears, but I think it had a clutch, if I remember correctly, because I think he was revving it and then he pressed a button and the clutch engaged and then it went. I could be completely wrong, could have been making this up, I suppose, but something along those lines. That would be pretty cool, being able to change gear. You'd have to get a customised transmitter, wouldn't you? Because no transmitter is going to have gear selectors on it, is it? So you'd have to get some company to make a customised transmitter, or make it yourself if you're capable of doing that. That would be cool. Being able to change gear, clutch and all that kind of stuff. As far as making it longer and all that kind of stuff, I wouldn't be doing none of that. That doesn't interest me at all, making a car longer. Adding an extra engine, I'd probably just pick a buggy, like an MP9 or something like that. Stick another engine on it, because that would be more simple than doing it to a Savage. Some people would do it to Savages. I know you can buy kits and all this kind of stuff. That don't interest me. Far too much work. And but for a buggy would be easier, because you've got a flat platform, haven't you? You can stick them next to each other. Yeah, I'd pick some kind of buggy. The widest buggy that I could find, although they're probably all roughly the same. But yeah, if I ever become a millionaire and I've got a nice garage and loads of all the time in the world, because I'm a millionaire, I wouldn't have to work then I would sit there and probably come up with ideas for manual gears on an RC car. Yeah, that's a cracking idea, that is, man. I think me and the old Tea and Biscuits are on a similar wavelength, because he comes out with a lot of similar things to what I think. Why don't you budget more to invest in the hobby and channel, such as a camera upgrade? Did you hear that, camera? Tea and Biscuits don't like you. He says you got to go and I got to get a new one. Yeah, my camera's not happy now. Tea and Biscuits, you've upset my camera. How dare you? Why don't you budget more to invest in the hobby, eh? And channels such as a... Budget more? Well, listen, I don't know what to say. Every penny that I have spare, which isn't much, it goes into things. This really, I mean, a camera upgrade. I think this camera's all right. I use that GoPro. I'll tell you a story. I've got my GoPro Hero 3, I think it is. Hero 3 Plus Black Edition, so it's 1080p. Yeah, 1080p. It does do 4K, but it's 1080p mainly. Got that. I bought that bloody years ago. I think it's 2009, 2010, whenever that came out. And I still use it to this day. When I put the camera on my head, that's what you're looking through. I did, it must have been about 2 years ago, bite the bullet and invest in a new GoPro. But it was rubbish. It was totally rubbish. I mean, GoPros, I don't know how they use them on things like Top Gear, the Grand Tour, and all these other programs. They use GoPros. They must lose so much footage because GoPros they're known for freezing. They don't bleep and go off and tell you they've stopped recording. They literally just turn off. So if you set one on your head, if you set one on a tripod somewhere, if you set one on a bar mount, a window mount, anything, and you're not actually physically looking at it all the time to make sure it's still on, if you set it on record and walk away, that could stop recording. It happened to me. There's a few times when I've said to you lot, I've done this, but I accidentally deleted the footage. Most of the time I just tell you that so that it doesn't sound like I'm blaming my equipment. But quite a few of those times was when I was using that new GoPro and it froze. And I'd done all this stuff. I think one time I had an engine blow up, which would have been on camera if it was recording. I can't go back and refilm that because it just happened then. I can't go back and redo it because the engine's blown up. So, long story short, I had a little argument. I didn't buy it from GoPro. I bought it from a camera shop. And I was saying it's rubbish. I wanted to get my money back. They said, you've used it now for a few weeks. But anyway, I said, I'm having my money back. Otherwise, I'm taking you to court. Simple as that. And yeah, they took it back. And because within the 30-day refunds or whatever it bloody is. Anyway, I got my money back. I ain't bought no more cameras since then. I've been looking at those DJI Action 5 ones because they seem to be where they are at the moment. They've not got any faults like that. And if I did get one, it would be the little combo. You get a battery, you get 3 batteries with a charging case. You can get the handle thing with the buttons on it and the camera and a little case to keep the camera in. But they're a hell of a lot of money, my friends. A hell of a lot of money. You're talking 500 odd quid or a bit more than that. Maybe a bit less. That's... If I could spare that, that would be, well, unthinkable. So, let me rest assured, what I do budget for anything you see here is every penny I've got to put towards it, because the money goes in, you pay the bills, there's that much left in the bottom of the pot, so if I could afford new cameras, I would have them, but this camera that we were using now, I bought that brand new actually back years ago before I had the children and everything else. I had a bit more disposable money because I only had me and the missus to think about. I bought that camera, and that's a bloody decent camera. I've had it over 10 years, and it's still going strong, man. It's, you know, I've had to send it off because I broke the screen on it, but other than that, it's mint. And so yeah, if I could, I would, but I can't, so I don't. It's as simple as that. Where are we? That's all the questions on the old Q&A. So thank you to the other three, Jeffrey and I think it's Mitchell, and the old tea and biscuits. Thanks for the questions. I thought we'd have a little bit of fun and answer a few questions and just have a bit of a chat because I felt like it at the time. Happy days. Anyway, you lot, speaking of budgeting, you never know, you lot. One day I might get an actual proper sponsor that pays me rather than just give me free products, which is great. I might actually get paid one day for advertising their stuff. And if that ever happens, you know, I'll be getting better stuff. What I might do, I don't really like the idea of it, but it is a good idea. I might do some raffles, yeah? Make me some money, then I can invest it further. Cameras, as you lot seem to want me to do. I don't see what's wrong with these ones, but you want me to get better cameras, so then I can invest it in cameras and whatever else it is I need to do. I might do some raffles. I might get myself a car. I'll go down to active scale. I'll somehow get a car. A new one, I don't know what I'll get. It wouldn't be an expensive one. Brand spanking new. Raffle it off to you lot. Hopefully I'll make a bit of profit. Invest it in the camera or something like that, you know. I reckon those Action 5s, DJI Action 5 will probably be the way to go, because then I can use that as a camera and on my head, you know. But anyway, enough of that. Speaking of budgeting, I need to get a new ESC and motor for the Minions car. This one keeps blowing up. It keeps catching fire every time we use it. So, and now it's welded the plug together for the battery. It melted the solder on the thing, and it welded the plug together. I can't get the XT60 apart. And I know some of you are going to say that happens a lot with XT60s. I've never had it happen ever in probably 6 or 7 years I've been using them. This is the very first time. So what on earth happened there? The motor was drawing a lot of amperage for some reason, and it just, every time it catches fire. So I think what I'm going to do is just get a brushless ESC, a brushless motor, so that eradicates the whole problem altogether. Put brand new in, and I can run it on lipos because it'll be a lot easier for me as well. And she'll have a faster car. It won't keep catching fire. It'll be reliable. But that, again, is down to budgeting. Somehow, I'm going to have to get that sorted. But that's not your problem. That's my problem. So I'm going to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Listen, it doesn't have to be a Q&A for you to ask a question. Any questions you've got about any car, me, or anything, just ask it. Because if it's something I don't want to answer, I simply won't answer it. So you don't know unless you ask. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Don't know what's going to come up next. You're sitting on a Roven at the moment. Someone asked about that actually, the Q Shorty. You're sitting on it as we speak. Hold on, I'll show you. There we go. I told you. That was your seat. Yeah, this is it. I took it apart before I went on holiday, and now I can't remember how it goes back together. And it's sitting there like that. So I will get it back together when I get the next chance. I've been enjoying some ice cream. And then what we'll do, go and run it in, because it's got a new top end, a new crank, everything's new. It needs to be ran in again. That we will get there eventually. So yeah, it's in bits at the moment. But anyway, that's the Q Shorty. That may come up next, or it may be something else. I really don't know what's next. I just haven't got a clue. But cheerio, all the best. Thanks for watching. Take care.